My fellow artists, you know what time of year it is. If you don't know what Inktober is, it's a monthly challenge where you get a one-word prompt for each day of the month, and you have to make a drawing for every single day of the month. So here I am prepping for this chaos. I'm cutting larger sheets of watercolor paper down into 4x6 sheets because I want to keep it small. I'm not going to be doing big paintings for this. We're keeping it simple. The prompt lists I'll be doing this year are the official Inktober one. I thought it had some really good prompts this year. And I'll also be doing Julia's. I'm not going to say her name. She's a German artist, but I loved her prompt list also. I'll put that on the screen along with her Instagram @ Now that I'm done cutting, let's get into it. Day number 1's word was dream. So I decided to draw Bud accomplishing his dream of becoming a florist. To get started, I digitally drew a sketch on my iPad and then I printed it so that I could transfer it onto the watercolor paper. And you can see me doing both of those things on the screen right now. And then after the sketching process, I go on to stretching the watercolor paper, which is something that's not required, but it's very nice to do. Basically, you get it wet and you tape it down so that once you start doing washes and getting the paper wet, it will stay flat. And I go back in with a kneaded eraser and I'm just erasing away the graphite. I kind of screwed up and I erased while the paper was still wet and I erased a little too hard. You can see that I start to tear up the paper. It's not ideal, but what can you do? And while I paint, I can explain a little bit what this guy is. His name is Bud, and I made him for a stop motion film in college. Basically, this little guy is stuck at a boring office job, and he has a secret dream of running a flower shop. I think I was unconsciously swayed by Gretzko because I was watching that when I came up for the concept of this film. I think I'll make this film. It's called Bud's Flowers. I'll make it available before this video comes up in case anyone wants to watch it. I don't know why I never posted it. I made it 2 years ago. I guess it's just kind of scary to put something you love out there. And it's especially scary when no one watches it and it doesn't get the recognition you think it deserves. But yeah, I'll put it out there for anyone who wants to see it. And the little Bud puppet itself was so fun to make. I just love working with my hands and especially making little creatures. I guess I just love being a crafty bitch. I'll put up the footage of me making him because I think it was a really cool process. But maybe I'm just a nerd for stop motion. I'm not sure if it'll interest you that much, but I love stop motion. As a kid, I used to watch all of the Aardman films. I would also do stupid little claymations. Honestly, I think if you dig far back enough in my channel, you can find some of those. And next, I'm taking some colored pencil and I'm just defining the edges of my watercolors. I don't really know how people just use watercolor. I feel like you have to be so precise and get the edges so crisp and clean. I am not on that level, so I rely on colored pencils. Okay, here's the tape peel, and then the reveal for this one. And we're already on to day 2. Day 2's word was spiders. I decided to do a character design for this one. Character designs were kind of my easy out. Like, it's just so fun to be like, here's a word that's cool already, and let's just make a character design. So I decided to do this cute little spidery girl. I knew originally that I wanted her to be wearing lace, so that was what I based her outfit on, was like sort of this like Victorian look. So I sketch this one and I stretch it. I will continue to show my stretching process until I think I figure it out, because stretching is such a problem for me. I feel like it never stays flat, even if I think I've stretched it right, but here in the beginning, I'm not stretching correctly. I should be getting the back wet, which I didn't realize for like 3 days. Oh, speaking of spiders, I found something very cute. It is a real spider, so if you're scared of spiders, like, look away for a few seconds. But look at, I had this little mushroom nightlight, and this spider's been living on top of it. Look at him. And here's my favorite part of this design, was the spider web in the eye. So here I am drawing that. And here's the reveal. When I was brainstorming for this one, I was trying to think of things that were lonely, and something that came to mind was ghosts. And I was trying to decide where to put this ghost, and I thought, why not in a cemetery? Decided to face her just looking forward, kind of like she's waiting for someone or something. I decide to roll the eraser over the painting, and then I start doing some washes. I also use this masking fluid to mask out the ghost. I want her to be this translucent blue. The way this masking fluid works is that it's like waxy, so that the water resists it. It's okay. It works fine. Sometimes the watercolor could still lay on top of the wax, so I have to go back in and like dab it off. But this masking fluid is ethereal. It's beautiful. It is the forbidden milk. And you can see here that my paper has warped a bunch from those washes. So instead of sitting here waiting for it to dry, it looks like such a nice day out. I'm gonna go outside. And that was a good choice. It was like weirdly beautiful outside, Milwaukee sometimes gets this strange fog. I'm pretty sure it's not wildfire smoke. Sometimes like the lake just makes this really pretty fog over the city. And then I came back inside and started painting again. I remember while I was making this, I thought this painting was very ugly. I was like, it's so muddy. It's more brown than I wanted, but looking back on it, it's fine. I like this painting a lot. I think it's very serene and calm. And here's the peels. For the photos on this one, I also wanted to go outside. And I thought that these bricks in the backyard kind of resembled like gravestones, so it was the perfect spot. On day 4, the word was fearless, and I decided to draw a very common fear, which is heights. So to show the height, I decided to draw a 2-point perspective city. Someone like high up looking over the city. I also gave them a cigarette for added drama. And I recorded both of those things at nighttime, so the next morning I'm getting ready and I feel really bad. I have to kick Pepper off of my desk. But alas, I must paint. So I kick her off and I start stretching the paper. And I jump right into painting with this one. I start with pink and purple undertones, and then I start building up the blue on top of it. And by this point, I'm feeling kind of defeated by the stretching process. I think it's so annoying that my paper keeps warping, so I go to YouTube and I watch some tutorials about how to stretch, and I watch just some watercolor tutorials because I don't actually know how to watercolor. I just kind of do it. These are some of the people's videos I watched. They were very helpful. Helped me calm down about my stretching fiasco. And I decided that I can't really do anything at this point. I could peel the tape off and continue on without it stretched, but I thought tomorrow I'll do one without stretching. Because Matthew White on YouTube is a very interesting technique. He doesn't stretch. He works like wet on wet right from the beginning, and for him it looks like his paper stays down. So yeah, I'll try that tomorrow. I decided for this one that I actually do want to use ink, and I use a like a quill tipped pen. I forget what those are called. I've used them in the past, but I thought let's do it again. And it was a lot better idea in theory than in actual practice. Those pens are so hard to use. You'll be going along, you'll be in the groove, and then they run out of ink, and then you have to spend like at least 30 seconds trying to get ink back into it, and then you got to test to make sure it's ready. It was so hard. And I had to change the camera angle because with that old one, I could not get close enough. Like, I needed my eyeballs so close to the paper to be able to do all these little details. So I changed the camera angle. And once I finish the line art, I go back in with some yellow watercolor and I just touch up the sunset a little, some of the windows, and I also use a white gouache to paint his smoke. And it was really late when I finished this painting, and the peels I recorded, I was like delirious and I was just ripping off the tape because I was so done with this painting. So we're just gonna go straight into the reveal. Day 5's word was blooming, and what better thing to paint than some flowers? I really do feel like watercolor is just made for painting flowers. This one was so relaxing. Like I said, I decided not to stretch it and just do a wet on wet approach from the very beginning, and it's so fun. It was so relaxing, and also it freed up a lot of my time because with stretching you have to wait for it to dry. This one I could just jump straight into the painting. But when you're working wet on wet, the paper was very wet, so I had to wait for it to dry, and instead of sitting inside all day, I thought, let's go for another walk. It's so pretty outside. And I decided to do the most basic fall thing ever, which is go to a bookstore. I've never been to this bookstore, but it was really fun to look around. And of course, I go find the art and nature books right away. And then I head back home so I can finish up this painting. Also, while editing, I noticed something very cursed. That pink flower, it kind of looks like a butthole. I'm just not gonna think about it. It's just a flower. And again, I have to wait for this to dry, so while I'm waiting, I work on a commission. This commission is so fun. It's just a van, and it's just full of so many little knickknacks, and I love painting a room that's full of stuff. I don't know why, but it makes me so happy, so I work on that for a little while. With the painting, I'm going back in and I'm trying to define the edges of the petals more. So for the top ones, I'm putting in some pink paint, and then the blue ones, I'm putting in some blue paint so that the edges are a little more crisp and defined. And this is how it looks before I did colored pencil. And here I am starting the colored pencil. I won't lie, I kind of liked how it looked before colored pencil. I liked how loose it was and gestural, but I did want to highlight the little sleeping yellow bunny cat thing, so it worked out, I suppose. No tape peel on this one. We're just gonna go straight into the reveal. When I heard golden, the first thing that popped into my head was some kind of character, like in a dimly lit room. It's like cramped and cluttered, and they're sitting at a desk and they're tinkering. Like a watch tinkerer working on like a golden watch. But I had to pull back this vision a little bit because I have one day to paint this, so I decided to turn it into a character design again. For this painting, I decided that I wanted to watch Kiki's Delivery Service. I love Kiki's, it's such a fall movie, and I think it's a really relevant movie for this challenge. Maybe not this word specifically, but this movie it's kind of all about like burnout. I mean, there's literally an artist in this movie that talks to Kiki about how to get her powers back. I love this movie so much.
Painting and magical powers seem very much the same. Sometimes I'm unable to paint a thing.
You mean it? Then what? What happens?
Kiki, please don't move. It's hard to draw a moving target.
Without even thinking about it, I used to be able to fly. Now I'm trying to look inside myself to find out how I did it. But I just can't figure it out.
You know, could be you're working at it too hard. Maybe you should just take a break.
Yeah, but still, if I can't fly...
Then stop trying. Take long walks, look at the scenery, doze off at noon. Don't even think about flying. And then, pretty soon, you'll be flying again.
You think my problems will...
Go away? That's right. It's gonna be fine, I promise.
And then I start my favorite part, which is the colored pencil. I just really feel like it always ties everything together. I'm able to define details that I don't know how I would have with just watercolor. And can I just say, it always breaks my heart that Kiki can't understand Gigi at the end. It makes me so sad. And I looked into it too, and apparently in the original script, that is how it's meant to be. She is apparently not supposed to understand Gigi at the end. Why? Why can't we just let this witch understand her cat? Oh, and here's the reveals. Moving into day 7, officially a whole week, kinda crazy. And today, it is fall. It is like 50 degrees outside and it's raining. With a prompt like the word moth, again, I was so excited. I have a feeling that for every single word that's like an animal, I'm just gonna do a character design. Because I love doing character designs. Moths are a wonderful creature. I was really going back and forth on which moth to choose. I was originally thinking 3 different moths. I was thinking an atlas moth, the rosy maple moth, or a Luna moth. I think all of those would be an awesome character design. And I was really leaning towards rosy maple moth and I was gonna make like a cute girl. But then I had to resist my primal urge to draw cute girls. So I decided to draw a dude for this one. And in this resistance of my primal urge, I was thinking of drawing like a soft, cute boy, and then I was like, no. I want this character to be a little more gruff. So I did go with Lunamoth. And I decided to do like, he's kind of like he's based off a Viking or a like medieval warrior. At least his clothes are. Obviously, he has the antennas. I gave him a really big fluffy collar. I also based his like chain thing off of those eyeball looking things on the moth. And I thought that it was going to be hard to get that green of his hair and his cloak. So I decided to mix sap green and viridian and white to try and get that minty green. And I think it was pretty successful. And I'm happy I went with the Luna Moth because Luna Moths are beautiful. And I've always seen like their wings, obviously, but I never looked at their like body. And they're so cute. They have such a fluffy body. And like I mentioned before, I usually work lightest color to darkest. So I saved his skin tone for around last. And I really regret doing that because it was very hard to paint around all of the details on his face. And then I start going in with the colored pencil. It really makes a huge difference. His pupils were very small before, so I go in and I make them wider. And I feel like that really changes his expression because he looks kind of terrified before that. And because he's a fluffy moth, I also had to make him a little scruffy. Ooh, and I almost forgot his Itachi lines. And before the final reveal, here's a pepper break. She's being so cute. I'm petting her nose. She's so cute. Look at her. Look at her. Look at her go. Okay. Okay. I'll do the reveal in a second. Okay, here's the reveal. The last day. Day 8. Yes, I know it's not actually a week, it's longer, but listen, my weeks start on Monday. 7-day weeks, that's a myth. They start on Monday. And today, we're drawing a little toad guy. I did originally want him to be a little more dapper, like to have a top hat and gloves and a cane, but then I thought, he's gonna be a hipster. He's gonna be a little more rustic. He's got overalls with pins on them. He's feeling himself. And I decided while I wait for the stretched watercolor to dry, I will pack some orders. I run an Etsy shop and I sell stickers, and this is how I store my stickers. And I use glassine bags to put my stickers in, and then I put a little thank you sticker and a business card. And then I seal them up. I find it crazy that people buy things that I make. It is still insane to me. It's even more insane. I think one of these orders was from Poland. Like a person from Poland. Like my art is gonna be in Poland. That's insane. And it's extremely appreciated. And then to finish the letters off, I give them a little stamp, and then I go drop that off at the post office. And I thought as a treat today, I would get the pumpkin spice latte. Believe it or not, I've actually never had one. I'm not really a fan of coffee. I would give it a 6 out of 10. I don't think I'd get it again because I'm not a big coffee person, but it was very sweet. It was very yummy. When I get back home, I am trying to decide how I want to color this toad man. I originally wanted to give him like these brighter colors. I think I need to lean into the frog and toad aesthetic. So I start playing around with giving him more like earth tones. I think I land on the communist boyfriend aesthetic.
Does he wear bland, drab, olive-colored clothing?
Yes! Yes, he does dress a little drab.
He's a communist.
So then I'm ready to paint. Doing the colored pencils really never gets old. I love it every time. It's where I'm the most comfortable. painting is fun and all, but watercolor is a fickle bitch. You can't like go back over it. That's why I love oil painting, because I can always just paint back over it, but watercolor is kind of stressful. And here's the reveal. And this is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching this far. If you did, you're awesome. I don't really know what this video is gonna be. I kind of made it because I recorded my whole process for all of these Inktober paintings, and then I used them for like a 30-second Instagram reel. And it felt like such a waste of my creative process to just delete all the footage after that. So I thought, why not make this? And I'm also gonna chill for a hot second. I do have a Patreon where I'm doing a monthly sticker sheet, and the sign up for that ends on October 15th. So if you would like this sticker sheet, you can go sign up for that. And if you don't want to, no pressure. Please don't do it. And to end it off, here's a video of a squirrel in my backyard doing gymnastics. Does anyone know what this squirrel is doing?